3. And if you could do a roll call, Dr. Curry.
Trustee Lopez.
Present.
Dr. Stronny Little.
Present.
Barbara Calhoun.
Present.
Dr. Deborah LeBlanc.
Present.
Trustee Andres Ramos.
Present.
Student Trustee Atkins. Benson. And Keith Curry present.
All right. If Trustee Calhoun will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Right. Everybody put your, like in school days, put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag. Come on, you guys, of the United States of America
And to
the republic
for
for which it
which it
stands,
stands, one nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Trustee Calhoun, for that. Moving on to item number 6, report of actions taken in closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54857.1. There is nothing to report. Moving on to item number 7, approval of open session agenda. Can I get a motion?
So move.
Second.
I have one correction to the agenda.
Yes, Dr. Curry.
I'm sorry. Item number 13.07 regards to the curriculum actions. And there was I'm going to pull the general, the GE area culture, diversity, and equity requirement. This requirement is still under review at the Academic Senate, and they're voting on it this Thursday. And so I don't want to have the board approve it if the Academic Senate has not approved it just yet. And so I'd like to pull that item, the whole item, just that one section of the GE area 7.
Can you repeat it so that I can make the modifications? Because currently at the moment we have the motion of approving as is. So we need to modify that.
So the modification is to pull from item 13.07, the GE area 7, culture, diversity, and equity requirement, to pull that language from the agenda for today.
Can you go back to the section it's in so that I can make it?
It's for some reason it's not showing on the gallery view, Heather. It's showing the speaker view. It'd be nice if we have the gallery view so we can be able to see the agenda.
So it's 1307, if I'm reading it correctly, as miniature as it looks on my end.
Yeah, so it's 1307 curriculum, the Compton College Curriculum Action Spring 2021. If you open the attachment, it has the information in regards to GE area number 7, cultural diversity and equity requirement. That section should be pulled from the agenda.
Got it, but everything else remains as is in that particular attachment.
Correct.
Got it.
Should I withdraw my motion?
Thank you.
Oh.
All right. So we have a modification to the agenda where we are removing from section 13.07 GE area number 7. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as is mentioned with the correction?
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Trustee Dr. LeBlanc, and I want to say it was seconded by Dr. Little. Yes. All right. Do we have any discussion, trustees? I will start off with Trustee Atkins. Trustee Ramos.
No discussion.
Dr. LeBlanc.
No discussion.
Trustee Calhoun.
No discussion.
Dr. Little.
No discussion.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on to item number 8, we have no recognitions for this board meeting. Moving on to item number 9, request to address the Board of Trustees on agenda and non-agenda matters. Dr. Curry, do you have any items to read for section 9.01?
Yes, and I think Paula's on the call now. She has the information from the employee.
All
Paula?
right, Ms. Paula, are you ready? We are on section 9.01, reading any public comment addressed to the board on agenda and non-agenda matters.
Okay, I have 2 requests from Gerald Warren of the Maintenance and Operations Department. First one, question, can maintenance and operations employees get training certifications in different areas of maintenance while employed at Compton Community College District, like pest control, twig cart, forklift, EPA certification, etc., during the year so all employees can be at their best when they are needed? That is one. The second one is, I am asking the board members for my position back as the college plumber and with appropriate pay. Please consider. Thank you very much. Gerald Warren. That is all I have.
All right, do we have any items under 9.02, trustees? All right, seeing none, moving on to item number 10, Board of Trustees.
I'm sorry, President Lopez, I couldn't get off of mute quick enough. About the Promise Program.
You want to go back to 9.02?
Yes, for future agenda items. Yes.
Okay, yes.
To talk about the Promise Program and for the high school enrollment and our contingency plan as it's impacted by COVID.
Got it. Dr. Curry, if you can share those schedules with us, we will follow back up on that. Trustee
one.
Calhoun, are you raising? Yes.
I'm sorry, I was not paying attention. That's my fault. I wrote it down and I hope I can find it. Future agenda items, give us an update on the type of deep cleaning that is going on at our campus, which buildings are being used, how often will they be cleaned during working hours, the whole rammet. Do we have enough employees to clean the buildings? With a college place on the outside or inside of each classroom and automatic hand sanitizer? And are we using a cleaning company along with our employees? That's future agenda.
Got it. All right, seeing no further discussion, moving on to item number 10. Dr. Curry, before I bring the motion on, do we have any corrections to these meetings?
No.
Got it. Can I get a motion for item number 10, Board of Trustees meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Dr. Little and seconded by Dr. LeBlanc. Do we have any discussion? Trustee Atkins. Ramos?
No discussion.
Dr. LeBlanc?
No discussion. Thank you.
Trustee Calhoun?
No discussion.
Dr. Little?
No discussion.
All right, seeing no discussion. Ms. Paula, can you do a roll call, please?
Certainly. Trustee Calhoun,
Aye.
Dr. LeBlanc,
Aye.
Trustee Ramos,
Aye.
Little,
Aye.
Trustee Lopez,
Aye.
Trustee Atkins.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to number 11, presentations. First up, we have Compton College Basic Needs and Success. Dr. Curry.
So I just want to bring this presentation back. Last meeting, we had it on the agenda, and I want to give the opportunity to staff, Ms. Shabri Thompson, who is the interim director for Student Basic Needs and Success, and also Lawrence Sasenko, just to provide you an update of what we have done to provide support to students during these times of COVID. And so I'd like to hand it over to Shabri Thompson.
Thank you so much, Dr. Curry. Good evening, Board of Trustees and guests. My name is Shabri Thompson. I am currently serving as the Interim Director of Student Basic Needs and Success. I'll be presenting along with my colleague.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Lauren Sasenko. It's my honor to be here with Ms. Thompson tonight.
Perfect. So for this evening, we will be talking over our Spring 2020 COVID-19 resources. We will be discussing technology to support outcomes as well as food resources outcomes, our emergency grant outcomes. And for Fall 2020, we will also be providing an update on those resources, as well as for Spring 2021, we'll be going over what we will be using the Coronavirus Response to Relief Supplementation Appropriation Act funds for, as well as the Compton College post-COVID-19 updates. For Spring 2020, our COVID-19 resources consisted of our laptop loan program. So in Spring 2020, about 291 students benefited from that program. We also had Wi-Fi hotspots, and 258 students benefited from that program. For food delivery, there were 474 deliveries made to 254 students. And for food pickup, there were 158 meals given directly to students. We do offer online tutoring services, and currently we are still collecting identification numbers around those details. As far as our equity emergency grants, 92 students tapped into that, which was in addition to the CARES Act emergency grants, where 1,388 students benefited.
I'm just going to review some of our outcome data that we've looked at in the past. This is related to our Fall 20 outcomes, and among those students who took basic needs support. So the first one is around technology. And when we looked at the students who were borrowing laptops and Wi-Fi, we saw that more older, over 24, Black or African American and female students access laptops and Wi-Fi hotspots than their representation in the general population. And then we looked at the success rates among groups who borrowed the technology compared to those who didn't. And we didn't see a difference for those who borrowed laptops, but we did see a significant difference for those who borrowed Wi-Fi. And we made this comparison between students who borrowed the resources to a matched comparison group. So students who are the same gender, same ethnicity, and around the same age. When we focused down the analysis to just math and English courses, though, we did that difference in success rate disappeared. So moving on to food resources, we did the same type of analysis. And again, we see that from the match comparison to those students who participated, we did see that there was a significantly higher success rate among the students who did sign up for food delivery. But again, when we focused it down to math and English, that it did disappear. Emergency grant outcomes, we saw a significantly higher success rate among those students who accessed emergency grants compared to the match comparison group, and that significant difference was maintained when we focused in on math and English courses. Shabri, I think you're still, there you go.
Thank you. For Fall 2020, we had very similar COVID-19 resources. So for our laptop loan program, we had 288 new students who tapped into the program, which brought it to a total of 574. For Wi-Fi hotspots, there were 287 new students for a total of 576. And for food delivery, we delivered over 5,150 meals to 155 students. And there was 510 $50 Uber Eats vouchers, which is over $25,000 given to 222 students. Similar for our online tutoring services, we're still collecting summer and fall 2020 data. For our equity emergency grants, there was 61 students in summer and 81 students in fall who were awarded through equity. And for CARES Act emergency grants, there were 580 students in summer and 711 students in fall. The dual enrollment equity emergency grants, there were 757 students who are eligible to receive $114. 97 students have claimed their awards, and that fund is still continuing today. For Compton College Shallow Subsidy Housing Program, 250 students met the qualifications for our partnership with the CRCD, and for our calculator loan program, 34 students received a calculator for the fall 2020 semester.
And I'm sorry, I misspoke earlier. Those results that I had just presented were for our spring 2020 outcomes. Fall 2020 outcomes are here. So these are for all the services that Shabri just mentioned, but we have them disaggregated, the success rates by age, ethnicity, gender, and then at the bottom is the success and retention rate. So the first column you see are all Compton College students. We had an overall success rate of 68%. An overall retention rate of 82%. And then on these subsequent columns, we have the different services that students access. We had CARES funding, ed equity for our non-dual enrollment students, ed equity dollars for our dual enrollment students. So you can see the representation of the students who are accessing the services as well as the corresponding success and retention rates. We go down. Again, these are additional services, Uber Eats, Everytable, housing of those who applied, and online tutoring of NetTutor. And then we have calculators, Wi-Fi hotspot, and the laptop. So I know there's a lot of information here, but now you know how to interpret it, and you can reference back at this at your convenience.
Thank you, Lauren. For spring 2021, Compton College was projected to receive $6.3 million from the HERF2 funds. And with those funds, we will be purchasing additional laptops and Wi-Fi hotspots for employees and students. We will be continuing our partnership with Equity, our dual enrollment equity, and CARES Act emergency grants. We will be increasing student support services for dual enrollment students, and we will also be investing in network security for our college campus. We will be investing in a recruitment campaign for career and technical education of students who were previously enrolled, as well as continuing our partnership with the Compton College Shallow Subsidy Housing Program with the CRCD. And finally, we will be developing and implementing the Charter Employee Support Services Program. For Compton College, what does Compton College look like post-COVID-19? For technology, we want every Compton College student to have a laptop computer. Wi-Fi hotspots will continue to be available, and all Compton College employees will have laptop computers with the ability to work on campus or remotely. We will be implementing a multi-factor authentication from Microsoft Office 365 for faculty, staff, and administrators. For food resources, our on-site cafeteria is now operated by Everytable, and we do have those Everytable vending machines available on campus. We will be expanding our food pantry operations, and we did have a partnership with Sunrise Produce. For housing, we will build student housing on the Compton College campus. And that concludes our presentation. Are there any questions?
Right, I'm going to start off with Trustee Atkins. Do you have any questions for our presenters?
Yes, first I want to say thank you for the wonderful presentation. Keep up the good work. Regarding of the program on Compton College campus, is it will it be continue ongoing?
Yes, so we still offer our basic needs opportunities on campus. Currently, we have our food opportunity with Everytable. We're still working with the CRCD for our shallow housing subsidy program, where 63 students can participate in that each semester. For technology, we are currently offering laptop computers, Wi-Fi hotspots, headsets, and we are still offering calculators through the Success Center. And for emergency grants, students were already awarded the HERF1 funds, and our equity emergency grants will be launching shortly. So all those resources remain available, and we will be administering a new application for summer 2021.
Okay, and also one more question. Will this program be open to returning students too, or not? Only current Compton College students?
So these opportunities are open to current Compton College students. So most of the resources students must be enrolled in a minimum of 1 unit at Compton College.
Okay, thank you, and good job to both of you. I turn back over to Madam President.
Thank you so much. Trustee Ramos, do you have anything for our presenters?
Yes, I have. The question I have is, what exactly is the Compton College Shallow Subsidy Housing Program?
Yeah, so our shallow housing subsidy program, we have partnered with the Coalition for Responsible Community Development. And in that partnership, from the HER funds, we gave them funds so that our students can participate in that program. So with the program, students who are eligible receive up to $300 paid directly to the landlord, and they're eligible to be in that program for 2 years maximum, as long as they are registered at Compton College.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had. Thank you for the report.
Of course.
Dr. LeBlanc.
No questions. Thank you for the report. Well done.
All right. Trustee Calhoun.
Yes, thank you for the report. But on page 3, where it says Spring 2020 COVID-19 Resources, and then on page 7, when you have the Fall 2020 COVID-19 Resources. So in the spring, the laptop loan program was 291 students, right? So
in the spring, this is showing fall 2020.
All right, I'm gonna start this over again. I'm looking at the spring of 2020 COVID-19 resources, which is on page 3.
Yes.
And then I'm looking at the fall 2020 COVID-19 resources. Okay, 2 different pages. So it says the laptop loan program is 291 students for the spring. In the fall, it says the laptop loan program is new 288 students. So is that still the same students from the spring that went to the fall, or different ones that totaled it up to 574?
Yeah, so that 574 is from spring and fall. So the 288 were just the new students from fall 2020.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I thought it was, but I just wanted to make sure that's pretty good. Then another question that was page 3. Do this real fast. When you were talking about on page 4 for the technology support outcomes, what was the reason for those who borrowed a laptop did not have a higher overall success rate? What is meant by that?
So when we compared the success rate, so that the success rate is the number of students who got an A, B, C, or passing grade out of all the students who were enrolled in the course. And when we compared the success rate of the students who borrowed a laptop compared to those who did not borrow a laptop, we didn't see any difference. It doesn't mean, it could be that, maybe students access the laptops later, too late to make a difference in their ability to pass the course. Or it could be that they're just, randomly among the students who borrowed it, maybe their success rate would have been way lower had they not borrowed the laptop. So I don't want you to draw too many conclusions from that. It's in preliminarily, when we compared students who borrowed a laptop to those who didn't borrow a laptop, and we compared them on gender, race, and ethnicity, and then we looked at their success rates, we didn't see a difference between the 2 groups. It was surprising, but we didn't see a difference.
So you're telling me that not to do what?
Well, because this is like this is our first group of students. We want the opportunity to add more students to this analysis to give you a more robust set of evidence, because we still think computer laptop loan program is important for our students, but in this analysis, we didn't see a difference between the two groups.
Okay, I thought you was telling me, not to make a big thing about it.
Oh, no, ma'am, I would never say that.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
it's just, we know that this is, we're still in the preliminary phases of building this. And so we want to make sure that we give you the most robust analysis that we can, but we know we need to still build this as we go, and we add more students to the analysis.
Okay. So I just have
Trustee Calhoun, this is Keith Curry. I want to say one thing, and I know you go through your questions, but I think with your question in regards to laptops is a valid question. But I also want to make sure that staff talks about a little bit, or at least state this for the staff, is that with the laptop program, with the overall success, if you remember with COVID, we started in March, and then we had to get the laptops. So if it wasn't at the beginning of the semester, right? And I think we had it at an earlier point within the semester. That's why it's important. And that's why I'm very adamant about having as many laptops as possible, because we don't want to run out. And then students are looking for a laptop, they got to wait 30 days to get the order, because that will affect their success and retention.
Okay. I figured something like that, but I just wanted to make sure I didn't hear. You said on page 5, when compared to a match comparison group by ethnicity, gender, and age, is that up here? Or that was just some summary?
It was just a summary.
Okay,
Don't go to more.
Don't go to more. Don't go to more.
It is here, Trustee Calhoun. I'm so sorry. So when compared to a matched ethnicity comparison group, and so we matched by ethnicity, gender, and age.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I just didn't see it. That's all. I think this is this is a very good report. I thank you for it. We're not having a problem of reaching the students, are we? I mean, from the time in March when we were kind of behind, we got caught up. What is our outreach to the students when it comes to the laptop, the Wi-Fi, and getting everything? Are we missing anybody? No, yay, we're doing better.
I think we're doing a really great job. That one-stop shop application keeps going, so we get new requests every single day. So we're not having an issue reaching students who are in need of these resources.
Okay, thank you. Shabri, is that how you say your name, Shabri?
Shabri, yes.
Shabri, thank you. No. Thank you so much. Very great report, Shabri, and also Miss Lauren. I thank you very much. I mean, I was reading this good. I think this is great. I think you gave us a lot of information, especially when it comes to, the Uber Eats and the food being delivered and coming to pick up the food. This is very great. And this is the things that I'd be looking for. I think we all do. So thank you so much for this report. Fantastic.
Trustee, Board President Lopez, and also Trustee Calhoun, I want to say something, because Shabri did not give herself enough credit. She took on the interim assignment a couple months ago and has been working the emails and the applications for students, and has been working tirelessly to follow up with them to ensure that they're receiving the services. And she didn't say that. She didn't talk about how she had to catch up on a backlog of emails that we had of students who had questions or concerns. Or she didn't talk about how she had to go through the application and work with Uber Eats and every table to ensure that students got it. She didn't talk about how she had to make sure students who needed laptops or Wi-Fi hotspots, and she did a lot of follow-ups. So she's been working tirelessly over the last couple of months. And I want to give her an opportunity today to share the work that she's doing, but also publicly acknowledge her for what she has done as the interim director of Student Basic Needs and Success. She's done an outstanding job of trying to catch up with the students and making sure things happen. So she did a lot. And I hope the board is impressed.
Right. Okay, Ms. Shabri Thompson, we're very impressed with you. And sometimes, as the saying goes, sometimes we just have to pat ourselves on the back when we start at 0 and we make it to 100. Sometimes take the credit, girl, take the credit. I mean, young lady.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Dr. Curry.
Yeah.
Dr. Little, do you have any questions or comments?
Yes, thank you again so much for the report and for all the great work, especially in a short amount of time. Just a couple of questions, beginning on page 4. If I understood you correctly, Lauren, I think you indicated that the N wasn't big enough yet to really determine if these outcomes are something that we should look to see replicated, but that it was, like when you said you were a little surprised that those who borrowed a laptop did not have a higher overall success rate. And so what was the number? The 290?
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
it was 290. So, technically that is a large enough number to look for significance. But again, because of the very specific conditions under which this laptop program was happening, again, the laptops were going out in March, and the timing issue of it, we think that might have been an intervening variable in this, in the difference between the groups and the success, how we didn't find a difference in the success rate.
Right.
So
did they get the Wi-Fi earlier than the laptops?
No, they did not. So
Okay.
that was not an intervening variable for the Wi-Fi. And we did see significance between the two groups for those who borrowed Wi-Fi.
So our assumption may be that they have technology, but maybe not access to the internet to be more either comprehensive or have access to their classes more readily, possibly.
Possibly, right.
So in terms of the gatekeeper classes in math or English, were there any indicators about why, or was it just straight based upon grades?
It was just straight based upon grades.
Okay, it would be great. I don't know if it's possible post to do some kind of qualitative or maybe a brief survey, because it would be interesting to know, just for future reference, if these writing classes and or math classes, which generally require more high touch, if there's a way to translate success via technology. So if we wanted to offer hybrid classes, let's just say in the future, a few in person, a few, virtually, that we know some subject matters that may be prone to more challenge. And so I was just wondering about that. And then when we moved over again to the food on number 5, again, it was surprising because, obviously the basic needs being met, the math and English are still not as successful. And so again, a little concerned. But then when you got to looking at the age groups, the emergency grants, I'm just wondering what might be the indicator for why they did better with math or English. Do we know if they used it for additional resources, or was it just possibly, their basic needs were met so they had more time to study in class? It's just interesting to me because the other 2 interventions did not impact math or English, but the financial piece did. So I just think in terms of us planning strategically for future interventions, it would be great to see if we can figure out a little bit more of the why.
Yeah, those are all really great points, Dr. Wall.
And then the last piece, thank you. You guys, again, based on your excellent work, I really appreciate it. The last piece was the slide 11 in terms of allocating the $6 million coming up. And so the reason I was asking about they were still successful more with the Wi-Fi than the laptops, to me, it just would before we purchased a whole lot more laptops, to figure out if it really is that people have technology or using different forms of technology, but just not having access to the Wi-Fi, how we can better think about utilizing those funds. And then when we, in the data around dual enrollment, what kind of support services were you guys mentioning here? What are you referencing here in number 3 on page 11?
So number 3 on page 11 references the issue that we're dealing with regards to tutoring services for students. One of the things that we're trying to figure out and be better at is with dual enrollment students who are online, how we provide support services for them regards to tutoring to help them successfully pass their course, and providing more services for those students.
And are we finding, so we don't currently have tutoring services that they can utilize, or?
We do, but as we continue to, with this remote learning and to gear up, it's with the number of courses that we're offering, we want to offer more support. And our school sites are asking for more tutoring support for their students who are taking dual enrollment. And so we're trying to figure out, create some new creative ways to provide that support. And so that's one of the areas that we want to provide for our students.
And Dr. Curry, is this based upon just numbers of like ratio of students, or is there a differential in the need for additional educational support because of preparation?
I think I think it's both. I think it's one, making sure that students who are in our courses are prepared, but our school sites are, if you look just from our data, if some of our students are struggling, and we're trying to really pin it down with our CRM Advise Early Alert to make sure that we're providing additional support tutoring services for them at different momentum points throughout the semester. And so this one is preparation to make sure that the students are prepared for the course, but then two, once they get in the course, they're receiving that intervention prior to the W date, prior to the end of the semester.
Okay. And so do we have any kind of boot camp or anything for the dual enrollment students, like on basic skills?
No, we don't have a boot camp for dual enrollment, but they are providing the orientation and the services for the student and to help prepare students for it. But what's happening is that the more and more you offer dual enrollment and you look at the support systems you have on campus for students, how can you ensure that the students who are taking dual enrollment are receiving the same experience as students who are on campus? And so when we look at number 3, it's about trying to make sure we're providing that support for those dual enrollment students who are taking our courses, and try to be creative with that, because some of our students need the tutoring services later in the evening versus during the day when our tutoring center is open. So I think the online tutoring services will help us with dual enrollment, and through COVID, we have learned more about that.
And so most of these support services happen on their school campus?
No, right now it's online. And so as we move
But I'm saying generally speaking.
In the past, if you look at the past regards to dual enrollment, we weren't providing that service until COVID started. And so now we've been really examining the supports we've been providing to students through dual enrollment, and we're doing it online. But prior to that, we weren't going out to school sites to provide dual enrollment, to provide support services. We would let students know about coming on campus. Now we have to be more intentional about that.
So just for clarification, they take the classes on their school campuses though, correct?
Correct. But right now they're taking it online, but yes, they in the past on their sites.
Right. So have we looked at the model of students coming to campus?
We have some students who do come to campus through the early college students are brought on campus, but with dual enrollment, the benefit is by having the services on their site or the classes. So the students, there will be less of a transition. We do have some students who are coming from off campus, from high schools on our campus, take our courses, but majority of our classes are offered at the high school site. So how do we provide that support services, the tutoring support for those students at their site or online as well?
Okay, it would be interesting just for a future conversation to see a comparison or some data about what the experience being on campus, even if it's a portion of the time, in terms of their overall student success and their acclimating post Compton College, like figuring out how they are adjusting to a 4-year when they leave us, if that makes sense.
No, I think I know where you're going with this. I think one is, and I want to speak for you on this, but I think the one area you're looking at is how once students, the experience, right? What impact does the experience of being on campus have on a student and their trajectory of how they go onto a 4-year college, university, or to another community.
And they're learning.
And they're learning, right? And then versus what happens to the ones who are taking classes dual enrollment at their site, right? And then also looking at the dual enrollment, what happens to students who took our classes 6 years ago, where they're at now? What happened to them students? Did they go to a 4-year college? Did they graduate? Did they get a master's degree? What happened to those students post being enrolled in dual enrollment?
Yeah, because there's a model, a historical model of the MedCorps program, right? That was run in the 80s, where students from all the way from Palos Verdes to about 9 districts who came to Compton College for their math, English, and science, and then went back to their respective high schools. And it was a very successful program, but I know a lot of the data showed it helped with their acclimation to a 4-year. So I'm just wondering. Thank you. Thank you guys for the report.
You're welcome.
The only other questions that I that weren't addressed is if we heard from our students after we stopped giving our food drives from Sunrise. Did any students come back to us and say this was a service that they needed? And if they did, was it additional assistance that we provided? Was there a workaround given that the partnership wasn't able to continue?
The workaround was having students sign up for every table in Uber Eats. The problem with Sunrise, as I mentioned to the board previously, was that they were not awarded the contract. And so we're going to be following up in the next couple of weeks with the United States Department of Agriculture regards to who got the new contract for April. But that was a problem. So we referred them to different services. But most people know I'm a firm supporter of the partnership we have with Sunrise and be able to provide the food for our students and also our employees. I want to try to find a new partner for that as we move forward. But we referred them to those current services that we currently provided. But we had students who were concerned about it when it first happened.
That was just my question. Thank you so much, both of you, for your presentation.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
All right, moving on to 11.02, Compton College Associate Student Body Report. Dr. Curry.
Yeah, I would like to turn this over to Andre Pacheco, who is the Director of Student Development and Athletics, to provide an update on ASB. Before I do that, I would like to say I appreciate the Associated, this probably be the last time we say this, the Associated Student Body, they do have a new constitution. They want to change their name to and they talk about their name change. I don't want to steal their thunder, but they've been working tremendously hard over the last couple of months on their constitution and other items. And I'm really proud of the work that they have done. And I would like to turn it over to Andre Pacheco.
Hello, everyone. Dr. Curry, can you hear me?
Yep.
Just want to make sure. Thank you. So yeah, everyone, Andre Pacheco, Director of Student Development and Athletics. Based off just the presentation we just heard regarding student basic needs, I think this is a perfect segue now into hearing our student voice, our student body. So I don't want to speak too much because you're not here for me. We're here for the students, and we always love hearing their student voice. So I'm going to throw it over to my colleague, Christopher Perez.
Good evening, Board of Trustees. I'm Christopher Perez. I'm the Student Activities Coordinator here on campus. And I'm actually going to turn it over to ASB to kickstart our presentation. So Elizabeth.
Hi, everybody. I am so sorry I was muted. My name is Elizabeth Elizondo. I am the ASB Vice President. I'm not sure if Stephanie is still trying to connect. She actually got disconnected from her Wi-Fi. I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Hello, everyone. My name is Stephanie Leonora, Commissioner of Public Relations and current delegate for the SS-CCC.
Okay, so today we'll be presenting ASB for 2020-2021 academic year. It will be presented by the Associated Student Body and the Office of Student Development. Our table of contents today includes describing what ASB is and what we do. We will be mentioning who are the members, our accomplishments, our events we had throughout the year, our pandemic experience, student takeaways, and ASB future ideas and goals. So the Associated Student Body is elected every year. We advocate for students. ASB allocates student activity fees collected to sponsor events, training, and guest speakers for Compton College students. ASB charters new and returning clubs every year. We serve on institutional committees, and we provide monthly reports to the Board of Trustees. We meet every other Tuesday at 1 to 2 p.m. via Zoom. Next slide, please. So here we are, our beautiful faces of the 2020-2021 Associated Student Body. Next slide, please. So the ASB members include President Queen Horace Ward, Vice President Elizabeth Elizondo, Secretary Sandy Lay, Treasurer Shayna Burns, Commissioner of Athletics Stephanie Zaragoza, Commissioner of Classes and Curriculum Genesis Batalla, Commissioner of Public Relations Stephanie Alejandra Leonor, and our ambassador
I think her internet's not working, so I'm gonna continue for her. The 2021 ASB.
I apologize, my Wi-Fi is not the greatest right now.
Elizabeth, if you don't mind, I'll continue.
Operate online. Our ASB this year is actually the first. I'm sorry.
Stephanie, I think you can go ahead if you want to, and you guys are doing excellent in terms of leading with one another. So go ahead.
Thank you. So for the 2020-2021 ASB accomplishments, we are the first Compton College ASB to operate fully online. We're the first all-female Compton College ASB, and we have updated during this time the ASB Constitution and the ASB Financial Code and Procedures. We also have established online ASB elections. Next slide, please. And through the 2020-2021 ASB sponsor events, in August, we had our first welcome week. September, we had a club rush, virtual lotteria, Race Matters series, moving beyond mental health challenges for the Latinx community. In October, we had our What is Latinx workshop, Latinx Heritage Month celebration, National Coming Out Day celebration, Breast Cancer Awareness Workshop, Emotional Wellness Month Workshop. And in December, we had Student Success Week. Also in February this year, we had our Welcome Week, Virtual Escape Room, movie screening and discussion, Race Matters series, the American Equity Gambit, a calculated move, Race Matters series, How Free is My Speech, and racial inequalities within the First Amendment. We also celebrated Black History Month and Black History Month with open mic. In March, we had continued the Race Matters series in gender. We also had a Club Rush, the third annual International Women's Day panel. We had a movie screening and discussion, and the St. Patrick's Day celebration. In April, we continue our Race Matters Anti-Racism and National Student Athlete Day celebration, and we had a lot more events. The ASB's pandemic experience, we've had access to technology, which has been a necessity for students. We also have an increased interest in mental health services due to the pandemic. We've had staff mentorship and guidance, which has helped us greatly during the online setting. We have found that providing non-academic opportunities for students to engage has been greatly beneficial for them. Our 2020 to 2021 student takeaways has been to continue to utilize technology outlets for ASB recruitment. Currently, we're using social media, Canvas, CRM, advice, and virtual classroom visits. We have adjusted ASB operations to better accommodate today's students to have online presence, eligibility requirements, and follow-up surveys. Our future ideas and goals, next slide, please, are to revamp club charter procedure and emerging leaders in constitution, Zoom presentations, and to have an increased involvement with Student Center for California Community College, SSCCC. Are there any questions?
Thank you so much for the presentation. I want to start off with our trustee Atkins, if there's any questions that you would like to share with our presenters.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to give the The ladies are excellent. Good job. Keep up the good work. And by me being a former ASB member, I can always support the ASB and everybody on campus, but I want to make sure that they heard from me that I appreciate the hard work that they're doing. For the first time, we have an all-female council, so keep up the good work, ladies. And I'm looking forward to work with you closely. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Trustee Atkins.
All right, Trustee Ramos.
No questions. Just thank you for this very informative presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Ramos.
Dr. LeBlanc.
I'd like to say thank you to the associate student body members, and a special thank you to the student director of athletics and the student activities coordinator, because it really takes a lot of work to pull programs together for our students, and especially with the challenges of being on Zoom and all of life's matters that interfere. It is just good to see that our student body is moving forward and looking out for the well-being of our student population. So thank you for your efforts.
Thank you, Dr. LeBlanc.
All right, Trustee Calhoun.
Yes, I agree with everything that Dr. Deborah LeBlanc has just said. Just a great report and great effort on everyone's part in order to keep things going during this pandemic, COVID-19, and the campus is closed and some come on and some don't. Just excellent. Keep it up, Stephanie. You and the whole entire team that has to do all this work. We just sit back and do policy procedures and great job, great report. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Trustee Calhoun.
Dr. Little.
Yes, I too just want to thank all of the officers for an outstanding presentation. I had one quick question in terms of how could we as a board support you all either in your activities or social media in the sense of helping you all to help your colleagues and your peers?
I think during this time, during the 2020 and 2021 experience, it's been very different, and all of us have had to adjust to this new way of handling things. And so we have been having great opportunities, and the whole staff, starting with our CEO, Dr. Curry, we've had so much support from all the staff, from Dr. Curry. So I think from my part, from ASB part, we've been relying on them and having them help us. So I honestly can't tell you how much more can we ask for at this moment, because we've really had a lot of help. We would like to see the Board of Trustees member attend our events, maybe if they are able to, so they can have that firsthand opportunity to see how we are able to support our students and what else can we do for them.
Okay, thank you so much. And one final question. I noticed that you all, we don't have to address it here, but please let us know how we can continue to support the mental health services that you all mentioned in your presentation, as well as I saw that you all had non-academic activities that were really favorable for the students. And so would love to hear more as you all continue to do your monthly reports just on what some of those topics are or activities are. But thank you guys so much, and congratulations on the history you've made.
Thank you so much, Dr. Little.
I'd like to thank both of the ASB board members that attended and the director and coordinator for the work that's being done. I know ASB is one of the annual report that comes before us to the board, and we always want to know that what we are doing as trustees is impacting our students in the right path. So thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you so much, Trustee Lopez.
All right, you guys have a great day. All right, moving on to item number 11.03, 2019-2020 Compton Community College District Financial Audit Report. Dr. Curry.
Yeah, so I'm excited. As I mentioned to the Board of Trustees a couple months ago, we were behind with the completion of our audit due to staff turnover. But I want to give the credit to Dr. Abdul Nasser and also Dorette Lambert, who's our new Director of Accounting, for the work they have done to complete our audit with our auditing firm. Bill Rouse, who is here from Eli Bailey, will provide an update on the audit. There are findings for the district, but there are things that we can work through relates to those findings. But I'm really excited that it's completed. Now we can work through implementing the recommendations from the auditing firm. Bill.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Curry. I appreciate it. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here to report the results of the June 30th, 2020 audit. And we have this little PowerPoint presentation to kind of make it condensed so you could kind of go over some of the highlights of the report. So first, you'll note on page 1 of the audit is the independent auditor's report. And this is where you go to see the opinion on the financial statements. And then on page 2 is the actual opinion at the top of page 2. And it's referred to as an unmodified opinion. That's the highest level of assurance that we can give as auditors. That basically states that, in our opinion, the financial statements present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of Compton Community College as of June 30th, 2020. Why is that important? When accreditation comes out, that's what they want to see. What type of opinion did you receive on your financial statements? So they want to see that you're receiving an unmodified opinion over the financial statements. Also, bond rating agencies, as they go to look to evaluate your bonds and how they rate your bonds, they also look at that opinion to make sure that's a non-modified opinion, as that could very well affect the bond ratings for your bonds. So it's very important to have that unmodified opinion, and I'm happy to note they were able to issue that on the financial statements. Next slide. Starting on page 4 and going through page, I want to say 16, is what we call management's discussion and analysis. And this is management's opportunity to put into a narrative format the financial numbers and information presented in the audit report. If you don't have any chance to look at anything through the audit, because I know it's a pretty lengthy document, I asked Dr. Curry if he wouldn't mind if we could start on page 1 and go through all 100 pages tonight, but he said I'd bore you guys tonight. But I really take interest in doing that. But in all kidding aside, though, if you have any chance to read it, I would read pages 4 through 16, because it really gives a comparison to previous fiscal year, and it kind of tells a story of significant events that happened throughout the year and challenges that the college will face in the coming year. Again, this is put together by management. We do review it to make sure that what they're saying that is materially correct and that we agree with that information. But again, it just gives management an opportunity to kind of bring to life the audit, because sometimes people get lost in the numbers. Next slide, please. And then starting on page 17 through 22 are the financial statements. On page 17, you'll see the first statement, which is the consolidated statement of net position. And just want to make everybody to note here that this is all the funds of the district. So this includes the general fund, your unrestricted, restricted, your special revenue funds, your capital project funds, also your bond funds. So it has all these all combined in one statement. And that's the requirement, is that we present one consolidated statement. So this statement is on full accrual basis of accounting, and it includes all long-term assets. So all your buildings, all your equipment, it's all on this statement of position. And that also includes all the liabilities of the district. And we'll talk about some of those assets and liabilities that are on there. And then the notes to the financial statements start on page 23 to 75. And that just gives the reader to the financial statements a little bit more information on what those financial statement numbers contain. Next slide. You will notice on the statement of net position, like I mentioned, that we bring in all the long-term assets of the district. So for example, capital assets is $160 million. And like I said, that includes all the land, building, and equipment, the net value of that as of June 30th. And we got to remember, though, that, for example, land is brought on at historical cost. So you might look at page 43 and say, oh my gosh, we could sell our land for a lot more than that. And yes, you can, because it's not the fair market value of the land. It's what the land was when Compton Community College bought it. But so we bring that onto the statement of net position. We bring on all the long-term liabilities, which is about $172.7 million. and you can kind of see the breakdown. The majority of that is bond related. And obviously there's a source to repay those bonds for taxpayers' property taxes. And then also we also bring on the net OPEB liability, which is about $10.1 million. And there's more information on that on page 53. And then we bring on the STRS and PERS liability, which again is basically a liability of the state that follows the employees wherever they work that are related to those specific organizations, right? Whether they're a member of STRS and PERS. And that liability is $39.7 million. So all those assets and liabilities are brought on to that statement of net position on that consolidated net position, just to give the reader to know what liabilities are out there and to kind of make it comparable to other community colleges and other governmental agencies within the state. Next page. As auditors, we're required to give opinions. Like I already mentioned, the first opinion on the financial statements was an unmodified opinion. And then we also, what we do is we also give, not an opinion on page 95, but it's basically, it's called a government auditing standards report over internal controls. We're required to get an understanding of controls of the district and to make sure that controls are operating in accordance with how management says they should be operating in accordance to board policies and procedures. You'll note on page 103 that we did have one financial reporting finding, which is finding 2020-001 over that. Next slide. On page 97 is our report on federal awards. We're required to give an opinion over all the federal dollars received by the district. Real quick here, let me see what that total amount was, because I know in the past, the district did not always qualify for a single audit. So this year, the district expended approximately $12 million in federal awards. The majority of that was obviously in student financial aid, and they did receive some HERF funding this year of approximately $649,000. We did have some findings over student financial aid and one over the HERF, but I want to say on a positive note, even though we did have some findings over those areas, there was no findings in regards to whether those costs were allowable or unallowable costs or eligibility of students or whatever. As you'll note through there, you'll see that all these findings are basically related to back office procedures. And I think this played a part in due to the separation from El Camino, because this was the first year that Compton Community College basically took over responsibility for all those federal dollars. And like I said, as you'll notice, you'll see we have a finding over cash management, over funds that need to be returned back to the feds, over enrollment reporting. Next page. Over reconciliation of the direct loans and over reporting requirements. So again, these are all findings that they are findings, but they're nothing to do, like I said, in regards to allowable cost or eligibility of people. They're basically all back office things. And so even though that we issued a qualified opinion over the federal awards, I'm positive to say that all these findings can be corrected, and you can read what management has done to correct these problems going forward, so they won't be an issue going forward. Next page. And then the last opinion that we give is on page 100, is over state awards. The district receives a lot of money from the state, and also there's a lot of compliance requirements from the state chancellor's office. I'm happy to note that we were able to issue an unmodified opinion over the state awards. That's the highest level of assurance that we can give, and that we had no findings to report, so none reported on page 12. So you'll notice that page is a blank page, which is, that's good when you have blank pages. Next slide, please. And then we're also required to follow up on the prior year status of prior audit findings, which is on page 113. You'll note there that it says there was no financial statement findings in the prior year, so there was none reported. Federal award findings in the prior year, there was none, so there was none reported there. And then there was one finding from 2019 over state awards in regards to the disabled student programs and services. And I'm happy to report that that issue was resolved, and so that finding was implemented. So again, very positive on that end. Next slide, please. That's basically my presentation for this evening, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that anybody might have.
Thank you so much. Trustee Atkins, are there any questions?
No questions, but thank you for the presentation.
Trustee Ramos,
No questions. Thank you for the presentation.
Dr. LeBlanc.
I have no questions. I'd like to thank you for the presentation, but I do have a few comments. For one, as a board member who's been here for a number of years, I just want to congratulate Dr. Curry and the financial staff for this audit. One, that we got the audit before June 30th of this year, which is huge. Because we used to get audits that would be 2 and 3 years behind. And so we got this very timely. And also to congratulate Dr. Curry and the staff for the audit of just the findings that were noted here are just so small compared to the kinds of findings that this district used to have. And it just really demonstrates the hard work that has gone forth and how far the Compton Community College District has grown over the last decade. And so I thank you for this report, and it is very important that we continue to stay on solid financial footing, and having these kinds of evaluations are some of the key ways to ensure that we are meeting that mark. So thank you.
And Trustee Calhoun.
No questions on this part. I think there's a letter that's in a different section. I'll have questions on that, I think. All right, but I think this is very in-depth report. Thank you so much for that.
Welcome.
Dr. Little. Dr. Curry?
Yeah, so at the next board meeting, we will have a update on our corrective action plan as relates to the audit findings. But there is one audit finding I want to address tonight and make sure that's on public record. Regards to the CARES Act and the drawdown of funds, I did direct the staff to draw down all the money from the federal government when it became available for emergency aid, laptops, and it's for what we need for CARES Act. And under the policy for the Department of Education, which I disagree with, is that you draw it down when you need it. At that time, the money came available, we were trying to get money out to students regards to emergency aid and try to move things forward. So that was my decision and my direction. And I have no problems returning the interest back to the Department of Education. However, when you talk about basic needs for students and to address student success, if you want to penalize us for drawing down funds and dispersing the funds to students and the amount of interest that you gain, I'd rather pay the interest amount to emergency aid for students rather than pay it back to the federal government. However, I'm going to comply with what they asked for, but the Department of Education, I think, made a serious mistake regards to their guidance on this one, because I think that colleges that have the CARES Act, the HERC-2, and also the American Rescue Act, they should not be under those requirements regards to drawdowns similar to financial aid, especially when you're in a pandemic. And our auditors know my position on that, but I want to make sure I publicly state that with the Board of Trustees.
Thank you so much. I want to make sure that before we move on and thank our speaker, Trustee Calhoun referenced the letter. I want to make sure that you have that concern addressed before this section is over.
I'm sorry, repeat that.
You referenced the letter that you said wasn't on here, but that you wanted to talk about it.
No, the letter is item 1311.
Got it. Okay, never mind.
It is the letter about the audit, though, but it's 1311.
Do you want to discuss it now since we have the presenter, or is this a question that's going to be directed to Dr. Curry so he'll be able to respond to it?
It's going to be directed to Dr. Curry.
Okay.
Unless you just want to take it out of order, but it's 1311.
Nope, that's fine.
Letter that
I wanted to make sure that I wanted to make sure the presenter was able to respond to your question. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you. And I just want to thank Dr. Curry and his staff. And just to let everybody know too, is that with the whole pandemic, they extended the chancellor extended the deadline for the issuance of the audit until the end of February. Obviously, with the turnover that Dr. Curry experienced with his departments over the last 6 months, that's why we asked for, and Dr. Curry asked for an extended deadline from the chancellor's office to April 15th, which we were able to meet. So we are in compliance with the chancellor's office because Dr. Curry got an extension for the audit just under the circumstances that he was operating this year. So just wanted to thank him. He took more of an active role in the audit than I'm sure he wanted to or he's ever had to in the past. And so I appreciate that because I know how extremely busy he is, but he really rallied the troops and brought in additional people to help get this audit done. And like I always say, the audit's a partnership with the auditors. We're not here to get anybody in trouble. We're just trying to here to help keep the district out of trouble, with the federal government, with the state government, right, when they get audited for those particular programs. So I just want to, again, thank Dr. Curry and his staff for helping us get through this audit process. And I'm looking forward to another audit this coming year. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. You have a good day.
All right,
Moving
thank
on
you.
to item number 12, we have reports from representatives and employee organizations. I want to start off with 12.01 and hear again from our ASB, Elizabeth Elizondo.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Compton College colleagues, and honored guests. I apologize for the earlier technical difficulties. I got them all sorted out now. I will be keeping my camera off for this report in hopes that I don't get disconnected. My name is Elizabeth Elizondo. I serve as the ASB Vice President for the 2020-2021 academic year. I'm here today to provide the ASB report for April. This past month, our associated student body has been discussing a variety of topics as the spring session is underway. We are finalizing the selection process for our ASB leadership apparel to use for spirit gear for promotional opportunities. We have begun coordinating our ASB virtual banquet scheduled for May 28th. We debriefed on our participation at the General Assembly meeting hosted by the Student Senate for California Community Colleges, SSCCC. We looked at event highlights, recapped what we learned, and what steps the incoming ASB members can take to increase their involvement. We, along the Office of Student Development, held a cultural connected event to celebrate Cesar Chavez and had an event to celebrate Student Athletes Day. Lastly, we have begun our ASB elections for the 2021-2022 academic year. We are excited to see which students will be selected for next year's ASB. This will conclude my ASB report for April. Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you so much. We want to move on to item 12.02, Academic Senate Report. Do we have Dr. Minadora?
They have no report.
Got it. 12.03, CCCFE Certified Employees Report. I don't see Holly Schumacher on here. Do I not have a report for that? Okay, moving on to 12.04, CCCFE Classified Employees Report, Aminqua McKenzie. I don't see the name on.
He contacted me yesterday. He said he would not have a report tonight.
Got it. All right, moving on to item number 13, consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Dr. Little and seconded by Dr. LeBlanc. Do we have any discussion? Trustee Atkins.
No discussion.
Trustee Ramos.
No discussion.
Dr. LeBlanc.
No discussion.
Trustee Calhoun.
1301, 1302, 1311, 1312, 1315, 1334.
Hey, Dr. Little.
1302. I think I can't remember specifically. 1304. sorry. 1309. That's it. Thank you.
All right. So we will start with 13.01, which was brought up by Trustee Calhoun.
It was just for, did you ladies and gentlemen get a copy of my questions and Dr. Curry's answers?
Thank you.
Okay, you did. Okay, I think Dr. Curry told me that 1301 was about
Trustee Calhoun, do you want me to summarize your questions and then provide the response right now?
yeah, so it'll go a lot faster, please.
Okay, so Trustee Calhoun's question about 13.01 was about receipts, and I referenced the you have to provide receipts for your conference participation. However, for meals under the employee travel, you're able to get a per diem of $50 per day. So now when you travel up front, we just give you $50 per day, and you don't have to have no receipts are required for the per diem. And so we want to follow that policy. 13.02, the question was about campus police and working closely with the sheriffs, and maybe we should include that language in the board policy. My response was we should look at the administrative regulation regards to report of crimes, and maybe including something about the sheriff's department or local agencies and working together. 13.11, Trustee Calhoun had questions regards to the audit and the closing of the audit, which the auditor talked about. It was included in the letter as well. The issue was our closing process and the changeover in staff. And we went through two vice president of administrative services last year. And then we also had a director of accounting. The director of accounting resigned during the audit season. So there was some misstatements on inaccurate information. And when we closed our books, what the auditors had to adjust through the audit process. Do I expect this to happen again in the future? No. So the staff will continue to monitor budget and make the adjustments. But the serious problem, one of the biggest issues we had to deal with this past year with the audit was also that transition from El Camino College and our student account receivables. And our receivables was in their data tail system. And so we have another system that has those receivables. We need to make sure those receivables are also reflected on our LACO books as well. And that's something that we need to work through in the future. But that was her question for 13.11. 13.12 was about the PO for Compton Unified School District regards to student equity. The PO, I approved it in January, and they finally processed the payment, working with our business office for that. But the requisition was approved in January, then we processed the payment. So this reflects that the payment has been authorized. And I think it's for last month. 13.15, Trustee Calhoun was curious about the EMSI contract, which they're based in Moscow, Idaho. This is one of the only few companies that provide this service. And most of the community colleges in LA County, in the state of California, use EMSI for this data. So there was no local vendor that we could work with. This is the vendor that the majority of community colleges are working with. Item 13.34 regards to checkpoint screen assistant. As you know, as the board is aware, regards to the safe return to campus, we have individuals who are working the front gate, the entrance of the campus, who are providing us support, and they're working as disaster relief workers. Eventually, they're going to be going back to their departments, and we need to have staff to work the front gate. And so Chief Box, working with Human Resources, developed this job description to be able to check individuals in when they come on campus, but then also to do the reporting. One of the things that we do, and if the board wants this information, can provide it, we keep track of who comes on campus, the number of people come on campus, for what types of services, and we keep track of that from students to employees to visitors. And so this group help us track that. This position will help us track it, but also this group will also help us regards to our service, our wellness survey that we provide for employees that they have to do every day before they enter the campus. And this is a critical position as relates to the safe return. And that concludes the answers to Trustee Calhoun's questions on the consent agenda.
Mr. Curry.
So I know you answered. Oh, I know you answered all of them, but I know Dr. Little had some that were similar to Trustee Calhoun. And Trustee Calhoun, go ahead and finish up.
Dr. Curry, the one about the 1312, the PO line, there was another one in there for the sheriff department. I think it's on the same page. I was curious, what are we paying the sheriff department for? That's
It
why
wasn't on your list of the POs.
I know it wasn't. I just looked at it. It wasn't. The sheriff department is down there, I think on the same thing. You can find it later.
No. Hold on, give me 1 second. I gotta look. I gotta see the PO.
That's why I had that question about the sheriff department getting notified about the crimes on our campus since we paid them so much money.
Can you, sorry about this. Lauren, give me 1 second. I want to answer Trustees Calhoun's question, but I need to see the PO. Did you pull it? Thank you, Lauren. Did you find it?
No, Dr. Curry, I just opened the PO document.
Okay. Trustee Calhoun, I just need to see the PO number.
This one is on the same page as Compton Unified. Or Compton Unified was on page 2. I think it was above it. There's Compton Unified. So I think the sheriff was on the page above it. Above. You can find it if you want to go ahead on with Dr. Little's questions. Go back to the first page. It's so small, you go. Los Angeles County Sheriff Department, right there. 192. Yeah, there it is. Oops.
She's pulling it back up for me.
Okay, it's 510. Are they in order? Yeah, they are. Okay.
It's the one ending in 510, I think.
You just passed it, Lauren.
Oh.
Maybe not. Right, I thought I saw it.
Ooh.
Okay, Trustee Calhoun, I will get back to you at a later date with that one so we can, in the essence of time, but I can follow back up on that contract and provide more information to the board.
I just want to know what we're paying them for if they're not part of our regulations and doing reports and stuff like that. It's on page 1, the very first page, but you can move on to Dr. Little's and however the president
you said
calls
page
the next person. I don't see it there. I see it.
In the meantime, while they search for this specific PO, Dr. Little, do you want to ask the question on yours?
Okay, I see it.
Sure. I was looking at, let me go to it was 1302, the reporting of crimes, and I read it, and I was just asking Dr. Curry, we have that updated as close to real time as possible. Is that correct? And do we have a electronic?
Yeah, that was updated this past month. And last month we brought the item for first read.
Okay, and I noticed it was mentioning in there about hate crimes.
Correct.
Okay. So if we have students, or how does that get documented?
It's documented in the clarity report, which we're required to have because of financial aid. And I think I sent this to the board before, but I can send it again regards to our crime reporting.
Right. Okay. I was just making sure that it was, I know we had a conversation before and I didn't know what was the change about this. That's what I was trying to figure out.
Yeah, and I can go back and look at the previous month because we showed the edits. But the issue here, not the issue, but to go to your question to add to it, in financial aid, if we do not report the crimes, that can impact our future disbursement of financial aid. This is a requirement for the federal government.
So is this just the final version after revisions?
This is the final version. This is a clean version. So last month we had the version with the edits, but we can resend that to the board.
Okay, that's fine. 1304, thank you very much for this statement. I know that it kind of does some dates in the early part of it, but we don't have dates in the latter part, like to reference the kind of recent incidences. And I'm wondering also, do we have or have we in the past made similar declarations around hate crimes like anti-Semitism, anti-Blackness, anti-Latinx, all of that? Do we have similar condemnations or resolutions?
We had some in support of Black student success, and we started some of that, but we have not done enough. This one was brought forward from some of our faculty and also one of our managers working in Tina Cooperman. Everyone knows who she is. And so they brought this forward through the Academic Senate, and that got brought forward here. But we're more than interested in. It all depends on the constituent groups bringing it forward. But if that's some of the direction for the board, that's something we can look into as well.
Yes, it would be good just to clarify how such resolutions get proposed and then considered and then adopted, if so. And again, like I said, I think it's very important to put on the record our position for history's sake and for current sake. But I just think to establish that it's really important. President Lopez, should I continue with the other ones that I identified or just wait till we get down to those?
I want to say Lauren did locate the PO number, so I know that we wanted to discuss. It's the billing of dispatch and page 9, in case board members wanted to take a look at it. Dr. Kerr, if you wanted to follow back up.
Yeah, I have to go back and look into this. I think I know what this is about, but I want to double check to make sure. So I just provide a follow-up email to the board. But we have, yeah, but I know it's related to the communication, but I will follow back up with the board on that. And Trustee Calhoun. This is it, right? Yeah. So this is about I will follow back up.
So is this an item that's being withdrawn and not to be voted on, or I wasn't sure where Trustee Calhoun was questioning this particular item?
This is related to data and data use and communication with the sheriffs. I don't think we can't not approve it because we need this as relates to with their dispatch and deployment of services. My response would be I can provide more information to the board, but I recommend that the board approves.
So I want to make sure Trustee Calhoun feels like her questions were answered.
Can you clarify that again, Dr. Curry?
Yeah, because I didn't understand that.
So this has to do with our radio communication service with the county and the sheriff's department. And so you can see how it goes to work with the sheriff's department. And so this is something that we have to do. And what I'm saying, I can provide more information, but this is something that we're required to do because we have to communicate with them regards to our technology. I want to be able to get more information, but I recommend the board approval because we have to move forward with regards to payment.
Okay, I don't know about that with me, but when you say communications, okay, give us a report. I don't know about my vote on this right now until you can explain it better. What when we call them or they call us, or our dispatchers calling them? That's all I'm saying.
So basically a couple years ago, we reestablished the police department. We're working with regards to dispatch, and our communication system is set up with LA Sheriff's Department. And so we have to be able to communicate with them. And so the radios is another way for us to communicate with the Sheriff's Department. So we had to purchase the dispatching information from the sheriffs to provide this service. And what I can do is provide the detailed information as it relates to this, but this is a contract that we need to have because it ties into our communication with the Sheriff's Department.
Okay, I'd like to have some more backup because that's like $16,000. Was that, is it over a period of time or this just?
Well, this is an increase. If you look at the notes, the second page, the original one was 7,500, which is now increased to 16,000.
Right. That's why I'm just want to know what services we paying for if they're not part of our board policy or whatever I was talking about, and we don't give them any reports and they don't do any investigation, if this is just all about the system, correct, Dr. Curry? I'll wait. Oh, Lord. Okay. Moving on.
So,
Trustee
President
Little.
Lopez, should I continue or you still have some for Trustee Calhoun?
Nope, I think that was the only one that we were looking for on the PO, so you're good to go.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just had one final question on that one we were just talking about, Dr. Curry, and you can answer later. Just for clarification, the radio is where the sheriff comes in as support to the Compton College Police Department. Is that it?
It's how we communicate. So for example, our officers are in the field. So our communication system is connected where they can be able to communicate with the sheriff department from within the field.
For what purpose?
If, let's say there's an issue on campus, they need to communicate with the sheriff's department and they need backup.
For backup, for support, for what's going on. Okay, so yeah, I think that clarifies it, and that's a radio system that gives us interconnectivity to the sheriff because our radios could not work independently. It's basically what you're saying. We need that equipment to be in communication with the sheriff. If they're on campus, they're not in our office, they need to call for support or need to call the sheriff for whatever reason, they can just immediately radio them and the sheriff could be immediately linked.
And it's tied to their communications, correct?
Okay.
And
all right, then I would like some backup information about that, the low price that it started with, the high price it started with, and how often we have called the sheriffs.
And actually, Trustee Calhoun, I'm going to provide more than that. I'm going to provide the history of this, and this ties back into when we first established our police department, and we provided information to, and this was, I think this was prior to your arrival, but we provided information in regards to reestablishment of the police department, and this was one of the pieces that was included in that process. So yes, we can follow back up.
So do they have a right to come and give us a report since we're paying them that money? I'm just curious.
This is only about communications, but we can follow back up on that question.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the next one I had was a question about, and I didn't say this number, but the accreditation. And I was just wondering what the change was for.
So this last month we brought for first reading the Distance Education Substantive Change proposal regards to the courses and programs we're offering online through Distance Education. And so last month we provided the first reading of this, and we also had some edits from the Academic Senate, the Distance Education Advisory Committee. So last month we provided the draft and also their concerns. And so then over last month, we've been working together with the Academic Senate to finalize the subs change proposal. And Sherry Berg can provide more information in regards to the importance of the sub change.
Thank you, Dr. Curry. Good evening, trustees. We are required to submit this distance education substantive change proposal to the Accrediting Commission for Community and Junior Colleges because currently in this pandemic state, all of our programs are offered more than 50% online. And online in the context for accreditation is anything that's connected by technology at a remote distance, not whether or not it is synchronous or asynchronous. So as a result, we need to submit this distance education substantive change. It includes our planning efforts, and distance education is part of our strategic plan. It includes how we're providing services to students in this remote environment. It includes how we're providing professional development and training to faculty, how we are ensuring the identity of our students when they log on through single sign-on, and how we are ensuring quality and academic rigor that is comparable to what we would offer in a face-to-face environment.
Okay, so it's a reassurance that the learning outcomes are being achieved even though we're in technology. And again, we don't have to go into a lot of detail now, but I'm just wondering how this couples up with the student success report and the data around the English and math challenges that showed up when we were talking about Wi-Fi. And I know that's just a subset of students, but I'm just wondering you know, where our students rank to meet our accreditation requirements?
So we don't, the accrediting commission does not give us a threshold of success or retention or outcomes. Our job is for continuous quality improvement to ensure that we're continuing to improve and to increase those outcomes. This pandemic has definitely created challenges for many of our students, and I think that is what you saw in the data in the basic needs. We are continuing to provide training to our faculty through certification. Faculty are undergoing course demonstrations through the Faculty Course Review Committee, which is a subcommittee of the Distance Education Advisory Committee and the Senate. And we are continuing to provide workshops, accessibility training. We're right now, this week, we started a humanizing online instruction class that we have, I think, 31 faculty are signed up for to learn how to better interact with their students in the remote environment to help improve some of those outcomes. This will be going to the Accrediting Commission for their review in, I believe, May at their Distance Education Subcommittee, and then it'll go to the full commission in June for review and approval.
Okay, so do we have a benchmark of where they were beforehand? Because we were still seeing some of these challenges with learning outcomes. And then also, is it still that they're only required to go to professional development based upon what they negotiated in contract? Is that correct?
That is correct.
So this is still voluntary training to equip them. But if we're being held to our accreditation based upon this, and we don't even know what the basic level of success is, how can we achieve that if we cannot mandate that faculty go, especially when all of the teaching is online?
So I think I'm sorry, Dr. Curry.
I would say this before Sherry provides some more updates. And we can provide you the robust professional development that our faculty are doing. The contract has language regards to the amount of professional development that's required. But I would tell you over this last year, even during COVID, the amount of professional development our faculty are participating in compared to other institutions, I'm impressed. And I think faculty are continue to be involved in professional development and engaged, and they're trying to find best practices to improve their teaching. When I talk about AB 705, I met with the English and Math faculty. And during that meeting last month, we're all trying to figure out strategies to support our students and really looking at different professional development opportunities and also trying to figure out different ways to do our community of practice. So when you look at the sub-change proposal, I think there's two separate conversations. One is sub-change proposal, and then the other piece where I think you're going is to really have more conversation about the outcomes of our students, which we talk about our institutional set goals and set standards. We can have more of that conversation. But regards to the sub-change and the PD, I think we have been doing that. And we continue to evolve on that, even though we have the current contract language.
Dr. Curry, I totally agree that there's some outstanding professional development happening. I know just based upon what was just shared that you all provide a lot of options. My concern is optional. So maybe at a future meeting, you can tell us the percentage of faculty and the amount of hours that they've done in addition to what's mandated, because that will give us more insight as to however robust it is, which it is, if only 20% of the faculty are participating or 70% of the faculty, because we're going to be held accountable for accreditation. So that's the reason that I'm asking. I trust completely in the professional development. My concern is contractual in that we can't mandate all of our faculty. No one, we were not 100% online teaching institution prior to COVID. Now we are. To me, all faculty should have been mandated across the board because it's a completely different way to disseminate education. So That's all I'm saying, not about the quality and how much we have. It's just the opposite. It's the concern that not everybody is mandated to take advantage of it. So I would appreciate it more so, obviously, about our students and our learning, but also because it does influence our accreditation. So I just think it's due diligence of the board to be aware of that. My final one is 1310 around Paramount Unified. And I was just, and maybe I missed it the last meeting, about some of the, conversations that have been had, and just wanted to get clarity about how we're moving forward with Paramount and the relationship. So that's it.
The relationship with Paramount is going well. We provided them with support in regards to the vaccination of their teachers. Sherry Berger and the team are meeting with Paramount Unified School District team again, and we're meeting once per month. And they approved at their last meeting, they approved the dual enrollment agreement, which is an update from our previous agreement. So we feel things are going well. We continue to work with them and support their students.
Thank you. Thank you, President Lopez.
Of course. All right, seeing no further questions. Ms. Paula, can you do a roll call?
Okay. Trustee Calhoun?
Aye.
Dr. LeBlanc?
Hold on. Aye.
Dr. Little?
Aye.
Trustee Ramos?
Aye.
Trustee Atkins?
Aye.
Trustee Lopez?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 14. First up, we have 14.01 Administrative Services Contracts over 96,700 Compton Community College District Resolution number 0420-2021 Budget Transfers and Augmentations for fiscal year 2020-2021. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Dr. LeBlanc and seconded by Trustee Calhoun. Do we have any discussion? Trustee Atkins.
No discussion.
Trustee Ramos.
No discussion.
Trustee Dr. LeBlanc.
No discussion. Thank you.
Trustee Calhoun.
No.
Dr. Little.
No discussion. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Paula, can you do a roll call?
Trustee Atkins? Trustee Atkins?
Aye.
Trustee Ramos?
Aye.
Dr. Little?
Aye.
Dr. LeBlanc?
Aye.
Trustee Calhoun?
I'm in a meeting right now. I'll talk to you later.
Aye.
Trustee Lopez?
Aye.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 14.02 Administrative Services Contracts over 96,700 Compton Community College District Resolution number 420-2021 D-CDW-G. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Dr. LeBlanc and seconded by Trustee Calhoun. Do we have any discussion? Trustee Atkins.
No discussion.
Trustee Ramos.
No discussion.
Trustee Calhoun.
That would be Trustee LeBlanc next.
Sorry, Trustee LeBlanc. Dr. LeBlanc.
No discussion. Yes, no discussion.
Trustee Calhoun.
No discussion.
Dr. Little.
No discussion.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Paula. Can you do a roll call?
Trustee Ramos?
Aye.
Dr. Little?
Hold on. I'm sorry, who did you call?
Dr. Little?
LeBlanc, you have your phone on, yeah.
Hold on. If you're calling LeBlanc.
Aye. Dr. Little said aye.
Okay, thank you. Dr. LeBlanc?
Aye.
Trustee Calhoun?
Aye.
Trustee Atkins?
Aye.
Trustee Lopez?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item number 14.03. Administrative Services contracts over 96,700. Compton Community College District Resolution number 4/20/2021, letter E, Golden Star Technology. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Dr. Little and seconded by Trustee Calhoun. Do we have any discussion? Trustee Atkins,
No discussion.
Trustee Ramos,
No discussion.
Hold tight.
Dr. LeBlanc,
No discussion. Thank you.
Trustee Calhoun.
Yes, I have a question.
Of course.
Just action. For the action items, we have to go one by one, or like when we were doing the 13 sections, you asked each one of us and we pulled it. So what's the difference between the 13 and 14? Just because there's an action item and you have to go one by one?
The monetary amount on these particular contracts exceed what we normally put under consent.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on. I'm sorry.
No problem. I believe I'm on Dr. Little next.
No.
All right, Ms. Paula, can you do a roll call?
Trustee Ramos?
Aye.
Dr. Little?
Aye.
Dr. LeBlanc?
Aye.
Trustee Calhoun?
Aye.
Trustee Atkins?
Aye.
Trustee Lopez?
Aye.
Thank you.
Moving on to Administrative Services contracts over 96,700. Amendment Ide Bailey, formerly Babernick, Trin Day and Company. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Dr. LeBlanc, moved by Dr. Little, seconded by Dr. LeBlanc. Do we have any discussion? All right, see no discussion. Ms. Paula, roll call.
Trustee Calhoun? Trustee Calhoun, you're muted.
Aye.
Dr. LeBlanc?
Aye.
Dr. Little?
Aye.
Trustee Ramos?
Aye.
Trustee Atkins?
Aye.
Trustee Lopez?
Aye.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 14.05, Administrative Services, contracts over 96,700, Graduate Communications. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Dr. LeBlanc and seconded by Dr. Little. Do we have any discussion? Seeing no discussion, Ms. Paula?
Trustee Dr. LeBlanc?
Aye.
Dr. Little?
Aye.
Trustee Ramos?
Aye.
Trustee Atkins?
Aye.
Trustee Calhoun? Trustee Calhoun?
I'm sorry.
Is that a yes?
Yes, I unmuted, yes.
Trustee Lopez?
Moving on to item number 14.06, Facilities Planning and Development, change order number 3, report for capital projects and measure CC Prop 39 projects to LACU Construction Management, instructional building number 1. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Dr. LeBlanc and seconded by Trustee Calhoun. Do we have any discussion? Seeing no discussion.
There's a Trustee Calhoun asked a question regards to this item and asked, was this going to be, this is our third amendment. The first two amendments were a no cost extension. This amendment, as I mentioned in my communication to Trustee Calhoun, this is a request that I made regards to instructional building 1 and the layout based off my conversation with the English faculty and making sure that we have whiteboards around the entire classroom. And this is a district initiated change order.
Okay.
Does that suffice for you as a response, Trustee Calhoun?
Yes, that's fine. That's fine.
Ms. Paula, can you do a roll call?
Dr. Little,
Aye.
Trustee Ramos,
Aye.
Trustee Atkins,
Aye.
Trustee Calhoun,
Aye.
Dr. LeBlanc,
Aye.
Trustee Lopez.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 14.07, facilities planning and development contracts over 96,700. Compton Community College District Resolution number 04-2021 FKYA services. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Trustee Calhoun and seconded by Dr. LeBlanc. Do we have any questions or discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Paula, can you do a roll call?
Trustee Atkins,
Aye.
Dr. LeBlanc,
Aye.
Dr. Little,
Aye.
Trustee Ramos,
Aye.
Trustee Calhoun,
Aye.
Trustee Lopez.
Aye. Moving on to 14.08, facilities planning and development contracts over 96,700 for NVIS. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
I heard Dr. Little first, who's moved it. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Trustee Calhoun. Do we have any discussion or questions? Seeing none, Ms. Paula, can you do the roll call?
Trustee Atkins,
Aye.
Trustee Ramos,
Aye.
Dr. Little,
Aye.
Dr. LeBlanc,
Aye.
Trustee Calhoun,
Aye.
Trustee Lopez.
Aye.
Thank you.
Moving on to 14.09, facilities planning and development contracts over 96,700, amendment ratification for Priest Construction Incorporated. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
And second.
It's been moved by Trustee Calhoun and seconded by Dr. LeBlanc. Do we have any comments or discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Paula, can you do a roll call?
Trustee Atkins,
Aye.
Trustee Calhoun,
Aye.
Dr. LeBlanc,
Aye.
Dr. Little,
Aye.
Trustee Ramos,
Aye.
Trustee Lopez.
Aye.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 15. For 15/01/2021-2022 Compton College draft goals. Dr. Curry.
So we've been working. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to the core planning team at Compton College for developing our goals for 2021-2022. And I want to share their goals with the Board of Trustees this evening. Right now, we're in the process of taking it to the Consultative Council to review the goals, and the Planning and Budget Committee will review the goals as well. The goals for next year are similar to the goals for this year, but the initiatives that we're trying to implement there's been some updates to that, but I'm really pleased about where we're at regards to goals for next year. And the question, do the boards have any questions or concerns? Please let me know.
All right, moving on to item number 15.02, 2021-2022 Compton Community College District Budget Workshop.
So I would like to spend a little bit of time. Dr. Nasser has a PowerPoint presentation about the budget, and as we're in the process of developing our budget for Compton Community College District. Today at the Tyler Talks for our employees, I provided information about the budget as well. And so now I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Nasser, who is our Vice President of Administrative Services. Dr. Nasser.
Thank you, Dr. Curry, President Lopez, Board of Trustees. So this is the budget workshop. We're putting together the assumptions for as we build the budget for the next fiscal year. Next slide, please. So that what I'm going to present here is the Compton College goals, the California State budget, funding formula update, and the 2022 preliminary Compton District budget assumptions. So our goals, as you all know, implement auto completion, grow enrollment to 4518, full-time equivalent, complete all Compton College accreditation efforts, We want to continue to improve facilities to support student learning, continue to develop and enhance partnerships with schools, colleges, and universities, and create a greater sense of connection among employees, students, and college and community. So the California state budget provides for a COLA increase of 1.5%, a FTS growth of 0.5, increase in Prop 98. There's a reduction in the STIRS cost from 16.15 to 15.92. And there's COLA 1.5 for CalWORKS, EOPS, DSPS, and Adult Education Block Grant. Next page, please. There's no change in the student center funding formula as the formula goes. We'll be getting a 1.5% COLA, as I mentioned earlier. The governor's budget has a plan to expand the zero textbook cost. Pathways is going to contribute about $15 million for online education resources. Assist the undocumented students to the tune of $5.8 million, and address student basic needs, $100 million. Next. So as I mentioned earlier, 1.5 on the COLA adds up to about 111.1 million, 5.5% growth in enrollment, 23.1%. The allocation for the funding still remains at 70-20-10. We've not heard of any changes in that allocation of student center funding formula. The next one is budget assumptions. So we are, as you know, we are on a hold harmless 5980. So our funding from the state is at 5,980 FTES. Pension rates, 23% for PERS and 15.92 for Cal STIRS. Next page, please. So these are the positions that we are budgeting for next fiscal year. History, ethnic studies, journalism, nursing, political science, and special resource center. And then one-time augmentation for enhancements, enrollment management plan, one-time enhancements, 250,000. And then we want to, of course, we have the line of credit. We want to do OPEB contribution 1.25. We want to be fully funded on OPEB. That's one of Dr. Curry's goals. And we'll be contributing PERS and STIRS, $200,000. Next page. This reserve is what we did last year, 3.5 for the ERP, the Compton College personnel, 400,000, and one-time augmentation with 350,000. Transfer to property and liability fund, $400,000. If any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Board members, I'm going to start with Trustee Atkins to see if there's any questions.
No questions. Thank you for the presentation.
Trustee Ramos?
No questions. Thank you for the report.
Dr. LeBlanc?
Thank you. No questions. Great report.
Trustee Calhoun?
Yes. Is this a budget workshop? Is this like something that we would be presenting with the public invited if they want to ask questions, or this is not it?
Trustee Calhoun, this is for us to provide the update to the board. So when we do the final budget, that's when we do the budget hearing in September, where the public has the opportunity to comment on the budget.
Okay, so on page 3, I know these are 2021, 2022 goals. It says grow enrollment to 4,518 full-time equivalent students. Does anybody have a plan on how we're going to do that, or this is not the part that you asked this question?
No, you can ask this question now.
Okay.
Our enrollment management plan is critical to this, right? Implementing strategy in our enrollment management plan. But our number one strategy is to re-engage students who were at Compton College prior to COVID, and try to get them to come back and enroll. And that also goes into the call center that we're trying to establish on our campus to be able to re-engage those students into our campus to come back and enroll. Another strategy includes the emergency aid, providing emergency aid to our students who are on campus, but also to encourage students to come back to Compton because they know that we have emergency aid available to our students. And the final piece about this is to continue to build off the work that we're doing with dual enrollment. So we want to implement the activities that are in our enrollment management plan, but then also the new piece of this is to re-engage the former students. Those are the ones that we want to come back.
Okay, re-engage them how?
Re-engage them by contacting them, reaching out to them, and
Okay.
recruiting them to come back to Compton College,
All right.
especially in the CTE area.
Okay. On page 4, where it says continue to develop and enhance partnership with schools, colleges, universities. I just have a question. Is trade tech out of our area?
Yes.
Oh, that's why we don't partner with them, right? Because they do a lot of trades and people can transfer to ours or whatever. That's the only reason, because they're in the other one, right? LACC. Yeah. Okay. I thought that. Create a stronger sense of connection. Item bullet point number 6. Right. So somebody needs to go on mute. Whoever has that. Oh, thank you. Somebody. Okay. Number 6, create a strong sense of connection among employees, students, college, and the community. How? Uh-oh.
So Lauren's going to, but if you look at the previous document, had some of the details regards to the goals. So some of the activities includes the professional development opportunities for our employees, but also make a connection. And if you recall, Trustee Calhoun, you were the one who added last year, it said to the students and the college, but we added the community. So that was actually your change to number 6.
Yeah.
So we included in that strategy includes some different initiatives for us to re-engage the community. But the bigger part for us is that sense of connection with our employees. And one of these, we had Tara Talks today. We had over 200 people engaged in our campus-wide committee, our campus-wide meeting. How many community colleges do you see that 200 people from the college during the college hour are engaged in a conversation about the college for Tara Talks? That's significant.
That's good. That's a plus. So let's skip to page 9. Vacant faculty positions included in budget. Is there a timeline when these positions will be filled?
We're trying to fill them this spring. So Rochelle gave me an update, I think it was yesterday, regards to where we're at in the hiring process for these positions. The hardest one to fill is nursing, right? And so we're always struggling to fill the nursing positions, but we're trying to fill these positions for next fall.
Okay. In dealing with diversity, equity, and inclusion, have we decided to change our application process so that? Nope. I see you shaking your head, so that's a no.
No, I'm not shaking my head because that's actually goes into the next item regards to the board and the trustee fellowship. And that's one of the projects we're working on. And that's a part of the next agenda item after this one.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nasser. Great report. Oh, great report. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Little.
Yes, I had just a couple of quick questions on the budget assumptions, the 1.181 million line of credit debt payment. We're ahead of schedule. Is that correct, Dr. Curry?
Yeah. So here's the line of credit payment. We're not ahead of schedule. We could, and the deadline to pay that off is 2028, 2029, but the amount of interest, it doesn't make any sense to pay that off sooner. From my perspective, our objective to pay off the OPEB, because if we're able to pay off the OPEB contribution sooner, which I announced today, I would like to have that paid off by 2024. And so by having that paid off, then we can be able to not have to utilize that pay as you go that's in our budget of approximately 600,000. We can use the trust to pay that bill every year. And so our goal is to try to pay off that debt first and then deal with the line of credit debt. But the line of credit is supposed to be paid off by 2028, 2029.
Okay, and that's not based upon enrollment.
No.
Or is it the projection? Okay.
But one thing I want to mention, Trustee Dr. Little, is that just the history of the line of credit. When Compton College received AB 318 pass, it provided Compton College with a $30 million line of credit. Of that line of credit, $17.8 million was drawn down. We still have approximately about $1 million or 1.1 million, approximately, that's in one of our funds, our restricted funds, for the line of credit that we have not used. However, the line of credit, we have to pay that back with interest of the 17.8. So I think we're about close to $9 or $8 million remaining to pay off that debt.
Okay, so we still, technically, we still have a buffer to draw down if we needed to, but we're paying it back now. We're not planning to draw down.
And so when I took on this job in 2011, I made a commitment not to draw down any of the money because of the interest that we pay on it. And I don't think it's a good use of funds to draw down money from the line of credit because it provides, it increases our debt for the district. So we've been very ambitious about paying down the line of credit, and we have made additional payments to the line of credit over the years. But for this year and last year, we did not add additional payments due to, we're trying to figure out with COVID and the state budget and really focus on OPEB as a number one priority. And then after we pay off OPEB, we can look at our line of credit debt and figure out how can we pay that down sooner. My goal is that we have our OPEB, and I would love to have the line of credit paid off by 2026 at the latest.
Okay, and we can't refinance that?
So technically, it was refinanced, but the Department of Finance has to be the ones who refinance, and that's the ones who set the interest rate. So a couple of years ago, we worked with the Department of Finance regards to refinancing the line of credit, and we haven't approached them about it this year. So I will do that just because the rates have changed. So I will ask that question the next couple of days.
Okay, one more thing. I see that we have these faculty positions open. Are those based upon enrollment, or is just the fact these are current hires that we're in the process of recruiting for?
These are positions that we're in the process of recruiting for. So we have a process for identifying new positions that we need for the college regards to faculty positions. The nursing ones have been on there for about the last year, trying to fill the nursing positions. Journalism and English was about a year ago. We've been still trying to fill that position. History / ethnic studies is a new position, and also political science was another position that's new for this year. The journalism and English and nursing and special resource center are rollover positions from the previous year.
Okay, and our 0.5% FTEs growth is, I mean, do we have like I know it's difficult, but like a 23, 24, 25 projection that's going to increase, especially as it gets closer to the time when we have to go back to regular assessments where we're not covered with a standardized enrollment number?
So if you look at in our update that we provide into the board regards to regarding the board agenda. So if you look at in the board agenda in the information section, each month we're providing an update on FTS. If you look at that document, look at the second attachment. What we do every single month is we provide an update of our FTS and where do we anticipate being by 2024, 2025. So we have a 5-year projection. And so that's included in that document.
Okay, because I'm just going back to you all, one of the strategies of bringing students back was calling them. And my concern, and I think that that's great. I think even when we go back to our regular programs, I think student engagement and reaching out and some of the things that the ASB raised in terms of activities and using technology is great. My concern is that if it's a year and a half, let's just say, and the students have progressed in whatever way, what percentage of those students who left are we realistically targeting? Because if they've moved on now, or now, they're at the 4-year stage, is that realistic? Or if so, what percentage?
I don't have the data in front of me, and we can provide that at another time. But we went through our data and looked at the number of students who did not return and did not receive a degree or a certificate, and wanted to be able to follow back up with those individuals about coming back to school. But we can come back to Compton College. But we can provide that data for Compton College and share that at the next board meeting.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Can I make one comment about this presentation that I think is important for the board? So just one quick comment, and I think for the board support, as we move forward with developing our budget, and I include this in my newsletter, from the planning process, we have over $3 million worth of requests from various departments. And then we also have new positions that are being requested as well. I'm trying to work, I'll be working through these budget requests over the next couple of weeks. However, we have to continue to be diligent. We have to be diligent in regards to the budget and how we move forward in the future. And we can't, there's no way we can hire 41 new positions with a campus at this size. But we're going to be trying to work through some of the requests and some of the budget requests to be able to really look at what's needed, but also take into account, as Dr. Little's comments about 2025, 2026, positions we still have to pay for as we move forward. And one of my biggest concerns now is that we received $11.3 million from the state in the 17-18 budget, which included some IT positions. Now some of those IT positions in next year's budget have to be moved to the general fund based off the budget and expenditures. So there's pressing priorities as we move forward, but I want the board to be aware is that we're trying to manage the fiscal, the finances of the district, and also different sources of funding that's coming down from the federal government and also state funds to be able to support what we're trying to do as we move forward. But there's no way we can answer all the requests with a yes. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you for that. All right, moving on to item number 15.03, the California Community College Trustee Fellowship Intercession Project. Dr. Curry.
So this is just want to provide a update to where we're at. So the Board of Trustees, we have 3 Board of Trustee members, Board President Lopez, Dr. Little, and also Dr. DeBoer LeBlanc are serving on the Trustee Fellowship Intercession Program project. We talked about this at previous board meetings. We have to submit our project, which is document number 3. If Lauren could open that up for me, please. And they asked for us to have a special board meeting. Sorry, the document number 3. They asked to have a special board meeting, and I told them that we have a regular board meeting scheduled today, and we can go over the document with the board. So what this is, and was included in your packet, was the project that came up with, and the board members participated in this process, was looking at faculty staff diversity and things that the board can do as based to their own professional development and the measurable outcomes. And so the document was included in the packet, and I recommend that we move forward with the submittal for this. And I appreciate the board, as this is your priority for faculty staff diversity and the professional development to support it. But then also you want to hold the CEO accountable to make sure things get done. And that's included in the project as well. Is there any questions? Sorry.
Trustee Atkins, do you have any comments, questions, or concerns?
No questions.
All right, Trustee Ramos.
No comments. Thank you.
Dr. LeBlanc.
No comments. Thank you.
Trustee Calhoun.
No comments.
And Dr. Little.
No comments. I'm sorry, I couldn't get it off mute.
No problem. We are moving, there's nothing to report on number 16. Moving on to number 17, board policies, administrative regulations. Dr. Curry, before I move it on to Dr. Curry, board members, are there any particular policies that you want to pull out and discuss? All right, Dr. Curry.
I just want to provide a couple updates. One is board policy 2430. That was just title changes in regards to delegation of authority, which the board delegates authority for the CEO to monitor the day-to-day operations of the district. There's only title changes on that. The other one I want to bring forward, Dr. Trustee Calhoun had a question about 17.15. I was able to follow back up in regards to military and veterans. They were removed from the first paragraph when they should not have been. And so we're going to add that to when we bring that forward to the next meeting. Also, too, I wanted to comment on the board travel, which I mentioned earlier about the per diem and that's included in the employee travel, which is the last board policy, 77. Go down a little bit more, Lauren. Right there, 7,400. And so I think it's important for the board to review that as well. But overall, I think we're doing some really good work with regards to board policies. Each month, we're bringing those forward to the board, and we've been working with the academic senate as well. There's a couple policies we're waiting on the Senate. One is the accreditation policy that they're reviewing and looking at that. So, but I think everything's moving very quickly.
All right, thank you so much. Moving on to item number 18, information items. Board members, are there any particular item that you would like Dr. Curry to elaborate on? All right.
No items.
Thank you. Dr. Curry, you can take over.
I just want to put out there for you item number 18.18, which is our OPEB and irrevocable trust. If you could open a second letter for me, please, Lauren. Just want to give you a sense. This is regards to our OPEB trust. Basically, right now, based off our actuarial study, our OPEB liability is about $14 million. We're doing another study this year before the year is over. We have a better sense of it. But right now in our trust, we have $11 million. Just so everyone knows, like, we have been very ambitious over the last couple of years to pay off the amount for the trust. So if you look at the total amount that's been deposited, we have deposited $8.2 million. And if you look at the amount that the value of March 11th is $11.2 million. That means we made $3 million off the market in support of our OPEB trust. That is significant. And I do want to say thank you to the Board of Trustees, because we have made some real financial commitments to pay off this liability. And then the next one you see is the amount for that same one, Lauren, that same one. For the PERS and STIRS, you can see that we deposited $3.1 million, and we have $4.1 million as of March 31st. So we made $1 million off of that one with their investments. Is there any questions on that?
No questions, but I do think it would be good, Dr. Curry, to somewhere document that in terms of our fiscal and fiduciary responsibility and the intentionality and the cost savings to the community, and to better utilize those additional funds, like for the longevity of the campus and how this, it's a long-term investment. I think finding a way to make that simplistic to the community would be very helpful.
And maybe what we could do is we probably, similar to what we've done with faculty, staff, and hiring, this, that, and the other, maybe put out a opt-in piece or some type of thing to the community about the financial stability of the district.
I think they would really appreciate that, because a lot of people have invested over the years in obviously keeping Compton College, and the fact that it's a 360 from some prior historical challenges to now being very thoughtful about not only being fiscally sound, but earning additional monies because of those decisions.
And we can do that. The theme for me on this one with the fiscal, and I think it's important, and I shared this to the campus community in my newsletter the other day. Lauren, you close this one out. Is that it's important that as the Board of Trustees in the community, they know that our financial picture is, we disclose it, right? So if you look at our board item in the information section, at 18.12, 18.13, 18.14, 18.15, 18.16, 18.17, 18.18, and then 18.19, 18.20, we're providing financial updates every single month, not only on our budget to actuals and unrestricted and restricted, we're also providing budget to actual regards to CARES Act and COVID-19 related expenditures, and also the bond funds. And one of the ways that we document this is by having this a part of the board agenda, where it's a part of the public record. But I truly agree with you, Dr. Little, is that we can do some more communications through to the campus, to the community, regards to the fiscal stability of the district. We're fiscally solvent, and we're paying down our debt for the future, which I think puts us in a good position as we start talking about 2035.
Yeah, and I think that encourages people too, that we're invested, that it'll encourage, that should be part of the marketing campaign for recruiting students back to the campus and all of the different development, that we shouldn't leave that out, because it does matter that we are being stewards of tuition. And, I just think it's important.
And but I can follow back up on the next steps on that. And the final piece that I want to bring forward is 18.22, which is our the call to action. As most people know, has been documented. The work that we're doing in regard to Chancellor Oakley's call to action for California Community College that came out in June. This is our action plan and the update. And I want to say thank you to Tina Cooperman, who worked on this document, who's keeping track of the projects and what we're doing as a college to move forward. And the final one, I'm sorry, I want to make sure I put this out there. 18.26, the next bond oversight committee meeting is on June 17th. And we actually have our legal counsel who works with on bond. We'll be doing a training for the bond oversight committee regards to their role. If any board members are interested in attending this meeting, I think it's a good information session for our bond oversight committee. And we have some really good people on our bond oversight committee who show up and who also participate. But their meeting's scheduled for June 17th. And that concludes the information section of the agenda.
Moving on to item number 19, future agenda items. Dr. Curry.
Next month, we have our normal upper bound math science recognition of our students who are completing that program. We will also do a STEM presentation in regards to our STEM center. We also provide an update on enrollment management, and that goes to Trustee Calhoun's question about enrollment. We provide an update on staffing of where we're at, and then also update on the nursing program. One of the goals of the Board of Trustees was to continue to monitor the nursing program and ensure we're in compliance with the Board of Registered Nursing. And that's where the update. And then you also have a report on the formerly incarcerated students in transition program, which the board, I know several board members are interested to see how that program is doing. And we have a report on that at the next meeting. And that includes the future agenda items.
All right, moving on to item number 20, or reports. Dr. Curry.
Just very quickly, I want to say, and I include this in my my newsletter. I want to say thank you to, we had a couple employees and also Trustee Board President Lopez. We did a presentation about courageous leadership and diversity, equity, inclusion. I thought was well received, and also I thought I thought everyone did a great job in that presentation, and it put another spotlight on Compton outside of the work that we're currently doing. And I was really amazed with the conversation and the work that we're doing. And I'm hopeful that the Board of Trustees and the faculty staff see that the work that we're doing right now is groundbreaking work for higher education in the state of California, but also nationally. And we have to continue to push the envelope as it relates to student success and continue to think outside the box of how we provide supports to our students. And so I'm really excited about the work we're doing with diversity, equity, inclusion, but the trustee fellowship program for the board and this additional funding we receive will take it to another level, because now we can start working from the board level, providing professional development for board, but also we're going to start looking at our board policy and administrative regulation regards to faculty and administrative hiring procedures. And this is going to be, and as we do this work, we're going to take our time, because I want to make sure we provide professional development alongside of the decision-making for the Board of Trustees. So I want to say thank you to everyone who participated in that presentation last week. And also the focus now for the board and also for myself is really focusing on diversity, equity, inclusion as relates to our administrative and faculty hiring procedures, and really want to work on that over the next couple of months. As always, I'm excited about the work that we're doing. I'm excited about the team that we have at Compton College. This work is not easy. I think everyone knows we're all working long hours, and I want to make sure our employees know that they appreciate it. And today we had our Charter Talks campus-wide meeting, and we had a picture day. And so we took pictures in our Compton College t-shirts, and I thought that was really nice. And we're always trying to find new ways to support our employees during this time. And so thank you, and that concludes my report.
Thank you so much. Moving on to item number 20.02, our student trustee, Trustee Evans.
Yes, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, first of all, I just want to say to board that we're hanging there, and I'm happy to be part of this board, and I'm very, very happy of the wonderful Compton College Board of Trustees, including our presidency. Oh, I know he works very hard and late nights and early in the morning, but I want to congratulate everybody on the board, including the wonderful ASB, from the president to everybody in the student life office and everybody on campus, even though we not on campus, but still my heart and everything goes to our Compton family, and I deeply appreciate all the hard work you guys are doing. And I'm glad to announce that I will be taking on another job, but I still will be with Compton College to the fullest. And I'm looking forward for a new 22-23 school year. So thanks a lot for all the hard work, and that's
Thank you so much, Trustee Atkins. Now I want to move on to item number 20.03, Board of Trustees. Trustee Ramos.
I just wanted to speak very briefly on the Derek Chauvin case, the police officer that killed George Floyd. He was convicted today a few hours ago, and just my thoughts are that it's not enough. The fight isn't over, because this shouldn't have been a hard case. The proof was there, and this was really about accountability and not justice, but it's a step in the right direction. So it's good news, but it's still not, for me, it's not something to celebrate, because more still needs to be done. And that's all I have. Have a good night.
Dr. LeBlanc.
Thank you, Trustee Ramos. I echo your sentiments that justice has not necessarily been done, but accountability has at least been put on the public record in this matter. And for that, I'm very grateful. I'd like to invite everyone to my community town hall meeting tomorrow night with the city of Paramount. You're more than welcome to join us. We have invited the community to log in. If they do not show, we will not stay. So I hope that they will come. And we had it announced at our Pomona Unified School Board meeting last night. So I've been following up and working with members of the Paramount community to come out and support. So looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Trustee Calhoun.
Oh, yes. Thank you, everybody. Trustee Ramos and Trustee Dr. DeBoer LeBlanc, you're so right about dear George Floyd. Chauvin was convicted on all three, found guilty in all three. There might be one victory, but there are more victories that are needed. Other police officers have not been charged in other killings. So we'll start with the first one. And maybe, hopefully, all we can do is hope, because this has been going on for a long time, centuries, years, for a long time, with the Black and brown community just being killed. And I think I could be wrong, but this is the first police officer that was convicted. If you go back into Breonna Taylor, the Ahmaud, and the rest of them, Eric Garner, you know. So this is the first one. You could count it as one victory, but there's more to go. More we need. So we just have to keep praying, keep protesting, keep marching, and keep using our voices. Say it loud and say their name and continue to say their name each and every day. Dr. Curry, how was the presentation at the Black African American Student Success Workshop that was held on Friday, March the 24th? Maybe you can give us an update. And Teresa Barragan Echeverria, did I say it right? She advised she would provide updates to Vice President Elizabeth Martinez about the data for the years of 2019 to 2020. Did they do that yet?
No, we have not followed up on that, and I'll make sure that's done in the next couple of weeks. Regards to the March 26th, I will provide an update regards to that workshop and how it went and the number of participants.
Okay. Did you also already give us the provide the information, Dr. Curry, on the students that attended each day at the Spring 2021 virtual workshop? Was that on tonight?
That was regards to financial aid. And
okay.
So that in your board letter, we include that information for financial aid. Keith wrote the letter as a follow-up.
Okay. Comments, was the Blackboard a success to re-engage students?
I didn't hear the first part of it.
The Blackboard. There was a
yes, that we hired Blackboard to re-engage students, and so Heather Parnott worked with them. The board approved the contract as it relates to that. Do you want more information about the their evaluation and what how did it go?
No, I was just curious. We'll go on mute because my dog is getting ready to bark. But the other one, the West Ed that was going to provide a series of Zoom meetings to educators to familiarize themselves with the reading apprenticeship framework. How is that going?
That's going well, and I think Trustee Calhoun, as it relates to the Brown Act, if you can send me your questions and we can add that as a future agenda item, I think that'd be helpful. But the West, it was mentioned tonight about the West Ed and the professional development. But if you have your questions, we can be able to provide an update to the board because your questions are not agendized. So we can be able to provide, and I should be comment on each question. So we can provide a report back to you regards to those last couple questions.
Hey, those are only my board comments. Those are
Okay.
board comments. Yeah, you can get to it later on. Those are just my comments. That's all. Yeah, I just thought about it, and so yeah. But this is a comment. I think I saw the return to campus plan is dated October 22nd, 2020. Will it be updated? That's just a comment. No, you don't have to answer it now. These are just my comments, that's all. So everybody, have a good night. Thank you for your entire staff, and thank you, Dr. Curry, and thank you, Board of Trustees. Thank you so much. I am going back on mute.
Dr. Little.
Yes, thank you again, Dr. Curry and the entire staff for all your work. I want to welcome again the new employees that we met at the 3 o'clock session today. And I think that we're continuing to add great people. I want to again commend the ASB leadership and all the student leaders who are thriving despite all of these circumstances. And I do want to echo the comments about today's verdict in the Chauvin trial. And again, while it is not considered any form of systemic justice, and I think even still there needs to be more accountability, because I think that the entire police department has to hold themselves accountable about what the police officers who are not doing their job continue to do, because there are a lot of great police officers who fall into harm because we don't discipline the ones who are problematic. And so I just want to make sure that we continue to push for broader systemic change and that we continue to work together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, board members. I will echo some of their sentiments as well. In addition to what has been said already, I do want to acknowledge that our institution was recently assigned as an HSI institute, which is a very big thing. And it also comes with some additional funding and assistance for our students. So I do want to thank Dr. Curry and some of our local electeds who did help us push for us to get that designation. It is much appreciated, and I'm sure the help will go a long way for our students. Our next board meeting is scheduled for May 18th. Closed session will begin at 4 o'clock and open session will begin at 5 o'clock. It is now 7:39 and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much, everyone. You have a great night.